have in your area. David's going to join us. Ken, are you here, District 3?
Yes, I am.
Okay, would you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Ken Bode. I'm District 3 District Deputy to the Grand Master. My lodges are in the Kitsap Peninsula, Mason County area, 2 in Mason County, Mount Moriah Lodge, number 11, Union City Lodge, number 27, and Hood Canal Lodge, number 288, and Port Orchard John Paul Jones Lodge, number 98.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ken. You don't have to name all of them, just how many you have in your district.
Okay.
No problem. Richard Kovac, we use a second-year deputy. I don't know if Richard's here or not. Nope. Okay. Jerry, District 5, are you here, Jerry?
I am here.
Well, goody. All righty. Well, very worshipful Parton, will you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Jerry Parton. I'm a deputy for District 5, downtown Seattle. There's 7 lodges in my district. Bob, will that work?
Choking him up. Okay. Martin Monk, District 6, he's a second-year deputy. He's probably not here. John Gephardt, District 7, is also a second year. District 8 is Larry Foley. He is also a deputy. District 9.
Mike Ando, deputy to the Grand Master in District number 9, and we have 8 lodges in my district.
Okay, he's up at the Camino Island area. All right, District 10, Kurt.
Hey, Bob, this is Martin Monk here.
Oh, Martin, you are here. Good. All right, Martin, go ahead.
I am
Martin.
District 6 within South Seattle and the King County area, including Vashon Island. I have 7 lodges, and I'm still expecting donuts, Bob.
Okay. I have them right here, and they are delicious, Martin, let me tell you. Kurt.
Hi, everybody. Kurt Godso, Deputy of the Grand Master in District number 10. Geographic area is Whatcom County, affectionately referred to as South Canada, and have the 3 lodges under my purview.
You come in. John?
Hello?
Maybe John.
Hello?
Nope, apparently not. All right, District 12.
This
William
is District
Hubbard.
11.
Bill, you here? All right. Bill is, oh, good, John. All right. Yeah. Introduce yourself, your geographic area, and number of lodges in your district.
John Brosh, District 11, Jefferson, Clallam County, 5 lodges.
All right. Thank you.
Second year.
Okay, William, 13, Don.
Good evening, brethren. I'm Don Downing. I'm a first-year deputy from District 13. I live in the Renton area. I have South King County, and including some lodges in Enumclaw, Des Moines, Federal Way, Renton, and Auburn.
Okay, thanks, Don. Bill, District 12. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip over you there.
No worries. Bill Hubbard, District 12, 7 lodges, Kitsap County, second year.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Ah, David, are you there?
Are you calling for David Rice?
Let's see. Joe McAllister, are you out there? Joseph is District 14, and he is over in the Spokane-Bonnie Lake area. District 15, Mark.
Mark Conley, District 15. That encompasses Pierce County, from Tacoma out to Eatonville, and there are 5 lodges in that district.
District 17, Patrick.
I'm Pat Baker, District 17, which encompasses Grace Harbor, Thurston County, and Lewis County. There are 10 lodges in the district.
Oh, 10 lodges. Oh, you lucky guy. Okay. District 18, Ron Robbins. Ron, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I've got Palos County and out to Pacific County here in the Pacific Coast. I got 5 lodges.
All right. Thank you. And Ron is the second-year deputy. District 19, David.
David Rice, first-year district deputy. We're down in Vancouver, Battleground, Ridgefield, Washougal, and White Salmon. 6 lodges.
All right. Thanks, David. Daryl, 20.
Yep, I'm here. So, Daryl Bullard, first-year deputy. Got 5 lodges over here, Yakima, Ellensburg area, and Goldendale.
Oh, all right. Thank you. District 21, Roy Sharp. Roy, are you with us? Roy's a second-year deputy. He's out of the Quincy area. District 22, Bill Carter. Bill? Nope, I don't think Bill is with us. He is over at OMAC. 23, John Lawson. John, did I see you on here?
I'm here.
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, I've got the eastern side of Yakima County and Benton County, all the way down towards Walla Walla before it turns into 24, and I have 6 lodges.
Yes, you get to travel a lot. You
A little
lucky
bit.
guy. Yeah.
A little bit.
All right. District 24, Michael. Michael, you join us? Okay, that's District 24 is Michael Burton. He actually lives in Lewiston, Idaho, just across the border, but he has the very southwestern, or very southeastern, pardon me.
It's just a half an inch on the map.
Already. Okay. Okay, 26. Alan, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, Alan Pratt could make it. Alan Schnell. Oh, you are. Oh, yes, we can. There we go.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Good afternoon. Alan Snell, District 26, Deputy to the Grand Master. My geographical area is just south of Spokane, ranging down to Pullman, Washington, WSU, and 6 lodges.
All right, thank you. Okay, Roger, for 27, Roger's a second-year deputy. Roger, did you join us? Okay. Roger's over in the Spokane area. District 29, Richard. Okay, Richard's also a second-year deputy. Richard Coughlin's over by the Grand Coulee area. And District 30, John, are you here?
I am.
Oh, well, welcome. We just learned
Welcome.
last night that John is now the deputy in District 30. Go ahead, John.
I'm happy to be here. I'm District 30 deputy. I have 4 lodges in Pend Oreille, Stevens, and North Spokane County.
All right, great. Well, welcome all. The second years mostly haven't joined us because this is really an introductory. They've been through it before, but we're going to then go to the District Deputy Resource Team. We used to be known as ALRT, Advanced Leadership Resource Team Alert. Now we're just the DDR, District Deputy Resource Team. Okay, so Very Worshipful Mike Quadra. Mike, are you with us, by the way? Okay. Very Worshipful Mike Quadra is our guy. The chairman. He's got experience with, oh, you are. Oh, I can't talk to you. Oh, well.
Per your instructions, I was told to be kept on mute.
Okay. He has experience as a secretary and with Temple Board. Oh, it says my internet connection is unstable. Well, that's just me. And been with us in the outset. Very Worshipful Richard Beers, which I see who Richard is with us. He actually is down in Oregon right now. However, he is a member of our jurisdiction and has some I don't want to say good experience as a special deputy, but he's got lots of experience as a special deputy. He's kind of our voice of reason.
Greetings from the South. Congratulations to everybody. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah. Good to hear from you. Ed Woods, he's doing something this year. Your grand warden or something like. Anyway, he's going to be pretty busy. He's another founding member. And Bob Nagrin, that's me. I'm just eye candy. What can I tell you? So, purpose of this workshop, to introduce everybody and the DIRT district team, go over some of our duties and expectations. And all of our workshops, by the way, should be a two-way exchange. It shouldn't just be me up here blabbing through it. If you have ideas, if you have especially questions, if you have comments or experiences, we want to share these. This is supposed to be a two-way exchange. Also, this is a safe place. This is a place where you have that question you really didn't want to ask because, geez, you I can guarantee you, this is the place to do it. This is a safe harbor for any and all questions and comments. And if you have that question, I can pretty well guarantee you at least one other brother has the same question he didn't want to ask. So don't just let me blab on. If you have questions, comments, stop me and we'll go through them. All right. We are here basically to offer you some best practice suggestions. Everything we go over are not edicts or requirements. It's just that what we have found to be a best practice. Hopefully all of you have received a deputy handbook from your predecessor. You will be receiving an updated copy. As we go through these workshops, we learn a lot, and we learn that from input from you. So we will be updating as we go, but you should have received that copy and a thumb drive. Everybody receive that?
No.
Or going to receive that? If you haven't, contact your prior deputy. He should have a handbook and a thumb drive for you. And in that handbook, there is an appendix with a bunch of templates and examples. Hey, these are just recommendations. They're just there for your own use to hopefully make your job a little bit easier and a little bit better. Modify them for your own use, with the exception of the monthly report template, and I'll go over that briefly here in a bit. But they're recommendations. So we are just basically going to focus on your duties, responsibilities, some expectations. Has everybody, by the way, gotten the Grandmaster's expectation signed and returned one copy? And kept a copy for yourself? If you haven't, email me and let me know. And give a photo of the exchange of the clear text to Right Worshipful Brother Clayton. I mean, Masonic Code 1 has a pretty good formalized set of your expectations and duties. Has everybody signed up on Grandview? You should have gotten
No.
email. No? Okay. You do need
Don't even know what it is.
Grandview? Okay. Okay. Email me. I will send you a set of instructions. It's on the Grand Lodge website, but you have to register on the Grand Lodge website in order to get into Grandview. Okay. But if you have questions, email me and we can go over that. Okay?
Yeah.
All righty. We like to have discussions, questions, concerns, experiences in these webinars and workshops. Let me preface this. I'm from District 2. We put on a 3-day workshop for our wardens and senior deacon and whoever else. And after an Saturday night, we go around the campfire and exchange ideas, etc., and have what if situation conversations. Hey, what if this happens? What do you think you should do? Well, some fool a couple of years ago brought up the situation of Mary Mason. And I'll modify this a bit. And I'm warning you, I'm going to play devil's advocate for you. So here you are in your collar and purple apron. You walk in to visit a lodge. You sign in. You look over. You notice there's a lady wearing a Masonic apron over in the foyer. So you sign in and start to go over and introduce yourself, find out what's going on. The worshipful master comes up and says, very worshipful, we need to talk. You saw the lady over there. Her name's Mary Mason. Had gender reassignment surgery about 2 years ago. She used to be Martin Mason, a past master of this lodge and a life member, and wants to enter. Very worshipful. What do I tell her? So, brethren, what do you tell her? Yeah, Mike, Jerry, David, Ed, you don't get to, Richard, you don't get to participate right away because we've had discussions on this prior, okay? All right. So anybody? What do you tell her?
No.
First off, is this a true happening? Did this really happen?
It at the time it was a what if situation.
Okay.
I'll tell you it's happened. It has happened, yes. And it will happen again. This isn't something that's going to be going away, or it's going to be happening again. So anybody want to step in? What do you say to the worshipful master?
Well, my first question would be, have you seen a dues card from this individual? The only reason I would say that is if the past master and lifetime member is Michael Mason, does Michael Mason have a dues card?
Yes.
But does Mary Mason have a dues card? I think that's the very first thing I would ask for.
Good take.
Okay, and pardon me for pausing. I'm going to write some of these down because they're really good. And I'll also tell you, we're not going to solve this here today. I think probably ultimately we'll go through jurisprudence, have a about through that. Okay. Okay. Have a dues card. Good question. If Mary Mason has a dues card as Martin Mason and can prove she was Martin Mason. What do you say?
I'm not looking at Martin Mason. I'm looking at Mary Mason. And I want to see Mary Mason's dues card from her lodge.
Okay. Okay, so you can't because Mary doesn't have a dues card.
Well,
you cannot enter. Okay. Is that? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what you're saying.
No. Well, if someone doesn't have a dues card, they're not coming into the lodge.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's a good one. And anybody else?
Well, I got to follow up on that too.
Yes.
Although I have a dues card that says David Rice, am I David Rice or am I Kurt Gazow? So they're going to ask me. Let's see some identification that says you are Martin Mason. That's the second object I'm going to ask for.
Right. For Mary Mason has a dues card and a certificate. Now Mary Mason.
Well, identification
usually is an altered birth certificate.
Well,
what's that?
Some sort of identification. I mean, let's face it. If you have a gender change, you're going to have to change your gender on an awful lot of documents.
Okay. Well, the other thing is the worshipful master says, yeah, I recognize Mary as being Martin. I mean, yes, there's been change, but not that much change. Okay. It's obvious that Mary was Martin. Okay. Anybody else?
Let's see. I lost picture here. Let's see if I can get back in here. Okay. I would just approach the Mary or Martin, and if they were a master mason and a past worshipful master, if he remembers his obligations.
Okay. Let's go through that. Master Mason obligation says, I will not be present at the making of a woman a mason. The way that's worded, it says making a woman. Martin wasn't a mason.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about making a mason.
What's that?
And it doesn't say anything about the making of a Mason a woman. We went the other direction.
Okay. Very true. And like I say, this is a very, very gray area, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. But two things. One, the Masonic Code. The only thing I could find in the Masonic Code 1.09 was that there's no Masonic relations with any lodge that admits women as members. Okay. Become a member. Martin petitioned the lodge, not Mary. Also, in the obligations, it says the making of a woman. Again, Martin was not made a Mason as a woman. Let me also go through, I did consult a couple of professionals about gender reassignment and gender discomfort. It is a very real physical and psychological condition. If untreated, in some cases, it can lead to deep depression, psychosis, and even death. So before we just say wacko, you do need to realize that this is a very real condition, and sometimes the only option may be a transitional surgery. The other options being going insane or dying from suicide of deep depression. Again, to tell you the truth, I don't have an answer for this one. It is a very gray area, and it is, as I say, it used to be a, hey, what if situation. Now it is a real situation. And I didn't bring this up to go through a huge discussion about what is and what isn't, what's right, what's wrong. It was more of a think piece and an example of what you need to be prepared for as a district deputy. Keep an open mind, think before you respond, maybe pause and think again. And you don't have to give an answer either. You don't have to give a response. You can also say, hey, this is something you need to consider, because for their own decisions.
Well, if I give my take on it, the gender doesn't change the person. It changes their view of themselves, but it's still the exact same person that was made a member of that lodge.
That is correct.
So just because they're no longer equipped as a man doesn't mean that is a different person. So that person went through the obligation as a man, and you accepted them as a brother, and now they're just different, but they are the same person. They're just more comfortable with themselves because they've made that change.
And I am probably a little more liberal than most on this. I even asked a past Grand Master, who was, I think at that time, a member of jurisprudence. Okay, here's one for you. What if this happens? We went through it. His response is, well, my opinion is, yes, you let her into lodge. She already knows all the secrets. She probably can run the meeting better than some of the seated officers in there. But the question is, what does the lodge decide? And here again, that's something you can't decide for the lodge. And it'll be interesting because I'm sure this will come up again. And the person who has had the transitional surgery actually has demitted. And the worshipful master of, sorry, you're not going to be coming into lodge. However, he did say, come back. Invited her to dinner, say, come on back, we'll catch up. We were always welcome for dinner. So I thought that was a nice gesture. Anyway.
May I add a comment? Richard Kovac, District 4.
Oh, yes, Richard, you're here. I didn't realize you were here.
Yeah, I snuck in. I got a little late. I had some other things to take care of, but I got in the door. Well, as many of you probably already know, in English Masonry, this is already accepted. Once a Mason, always a Mason. So this last brother that spoke hit it right on the head. You don't change the fact that they're a Mason. And in several English lodges, transgender is a matter of course now. And I think there's a couple of Grand Lodges in the East that have already accepted this and have either amended their code or done something to allow this. So you know, it's coming. There may be more of it. The other thing that the master and the district deputy should watch out for is, in light of this precedent in England and elsewhere, you could be opening yourself to a lawsuit from one of these organizations that take on transgender rights.
Very true. And Richard has had some direct experience with this particular situation. Some of you may also. So just keep an open mind. You know, we 10 minutes what I'd allocated, so let's keep going. All right. So let's talk a little bit. Thank you, Richard. Let's talk a little bit about leadership. There's a whole bunch of different styles, types. It in itself is probably about an 8-hour workshop. I've tried to just quickly summarize some of the basic ones. Authoritarian leadership, one person, one rule, clear chain of command. Military is probably the prime example. It's the do what I say type of leadership, which tends to kill creativity, not a whole lot of collaboration, stifles a bit of group input and cooperation. Or the opposite of that is the democratic consensus from everyone on every decision. Very time consuming, and if you try and do it with everything, unclear results, and it can be effective. Bureaucratic, everything by the book. I'm not talking about just rules by the book, but everything by the book. We've always done it that way. We've seen worshipful masters do that. We've always, and it you know, nothing changes. It just keeps going the same way. The passive leadership, don't rock the boat, let's just see what happens, often known as the do nothing leader. Nothing changes, there's not improvement, nothing goes forward, even possibly regresses a bit. And the serving leader, I learned it as the servant leadership. The serving leader leads to grow an organization, leads to grow the district, grow the members, grow the people by listening to others, empathizing and utilizing resources. So what style of leadership is best? Well, you're probably going to use all of them, hopefully, except maybe the passive. Democratic, you are going to need to get consensus on some programs and whatever from officers, members, lodges, even the district. Bureaucratic, yeah, you are there to make sure that the rules of the code, the standard work are followed. And servant, well, that's sort of the best path for lodge members and the district. You're trying to give them the best path. Authoritarian, well, you're going to have to use this because, yes, you ultimately are going to have to make some decisions. So the serving leader, let's just talk a little bit about the serving leader. Serving leader listens. Obviously, I'm a little bit opinionated on which is the best style of leadership. The serving leader listens to different perspectives, looks at the different perspectives, tries to get all the different perspectives, and empathizes. Now, true empathy isn't, we're not talking about sympathy, we're talking about empathy, where the leader can self of his own biases and opinions and put himself into a particular point of view or perspective and examine the concern from that perspective. The other thing is to listen and learn from others. If you listen and empathize, hey, discover something you haven't considered. Using available resources, what can you do? How can you help? And what can you provide to improve this situation? Having said all of that, you're not here to lead the district. You are not the leader of the district. You're there to observe, and you are there to help provide resources and mentor. And oh, by the way, a great book. It's called Purpose of Fraternity Handbook of Deputies and Grand Lodge Officers. It's by Dan Hrinko, H-R-I-N. Whoops, that? Am I out?
Your audio is breaking up, Bob. You're having trouble. Somebody doesn't want you to tell us this information.
Oh, okay. I get that a lot. Okay, it's called The Purple of the Fraternity. It's by Dan. It's from McCoy Publishing, MACOY Publishing. It's got a lot of great information in it, and I was very happy to see that a lot of our training is also included. Everybody get that?
I already have the book and I've read it.
Yes. And thank you very much, Kurt, and very worshipful David for alerting me to that. So it's a really good one. All right.
I have a little question on that book. You by
Yes.
chance know if that's available online?
It is. I don't think it is available from Amazon. It may be now. I don't know. I got it directly.
Yeah, it is available to order online, but it's not available as an ebook yet. So it's still the print edition only.
I got my hard copy from McCoy.
Yeah, I think I got my copy. It was $15 plus. I can't remember what.
I just Google McCoy, and you'll click on their website, and then you can find it.
Oh, very good. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about responsibilities, duties, expectations. Responsible. You are only responsible to the Grand Master. You are not responsible to the district. You are not responsible to the lodges, and you are not responsible to an individual member. Your responsibility as a district deputy is directly to the Grand Master. You hopefully all received a copy of your clear text. This is something you should always take with you into lodge, disseminate it into the lodges. If you enter into the lodge with the clear text, you had better come back out with the clear text. You don't lend it out. You don't let it be copied. And you're fortunate because there's only one version. But, well, let's see, when I was deputy, there was 3 different versions of the clear text that didn't always match up. So they did a great job at making sure every clear text is the same, but keep it with you. You can loan it when you were in the lodge room or a prompter or whatever, but always keep it in your possession. Here's that bureaucratic thing about need to instill the observance of the correct rules for masonry, the code, the standard work, and the lodge officer's handbook, which really is not codified, but it has great best practice suggestions. Oh, this is a fun one. Examine financials of the lodge as the Grand Master directs. We will have a lot more on this in upcoming workshops, but you are there to not examine the financials, to find out what kind of money they have. It is for clear transmission to the members so everybody knows what the lodge is doing with their financials, assets, and paying bills, etc. Submit reports on the condition of each lodge to the Grand Master. Actually, you don't submit it directly to the Grand Master. You submit it to the deputy mailbox. We'll go over that, but you're going to have a monthly report. You're going to have a report for each one of your official visits. You're going to have a report for your district meeting. When you submit them, please submit them in a Word document. Don't PDF them. I have to go through and I correlate all the reports for the XCOM, the executive committee. It takes me a few hours minimum every month to do it. So please submit the reports in Word document. We'll go over this completely. We're going to have another workshop about reports. So proficiency in lodge management. Everybody gone through and done part A in proficiency in lodge management? I hope so, because it was one of the expectations you needed to do to become a district deputy. Also, you will be evaluating those who go through the proficiency in lodge management on part B, seeing if they have proficiency in part B. We do have a little something in the handbook, I think it's in the appendix, about what to do and a rule of thumb for evaluating. Attend Grand Lodge annual communications. Well, this has been a different year. Hopefully you were all semi-present for the annual communications, and hopefully next year you will be able to attend physically. Promote Grandmaster's programs for this year. Make sure you know what they are, and be prepared to talk on the programs. Promote and support the Grand Lodge Leadership Retreat. Has everybody attended a leadership retreat?
No.
Oh, strongly recommend you do. If you're going to promote it, and it's not cheap, I understand, but it is well worth going to the leadership retreat. There are a number of workshops given, usually a very good guest speaker. The food usually isn't very bad. Unfortunately, this year, we're not sure if there is going to be leadership.
I like that. It usually isn't very bad.
Bob, it was canceled this year, but have they talked about rescheduling?
Yeah, they're still talking about rescheduling. They're still not quite sure what's going on. A lot of things this year are going to be in limbo and, constantly revised. It's going to be, we're in that very interesting, may you live in interesting times, which I think is a Chinese curse. But we are living in interesting times. So as of right now, it has been canceled for the time intended. It may still be on. We just don't know. So, but if you haven't attended and have the opportunity, I highly recommend it. All right. Know what each committee does. A lot of them know what they do and know who the members are in your district. A great way to have a speaker. A lodge comes to you and says, I want to have Masonic education. I'd like to have a speaker come, but I don't know what to do. Tap one of the members of the committee in your district. Tell them, hey, great speaker, great. They can come and talk to you about membership, finances, leadership training, military, you name it. And give them the name. And by the way, if the member does not respond, I'd like to know about it. The committee member doesn't respond. All right. Anyway, present the Grand Master's message. Remember the past, visualize the future, have a quick, concise reminder of the message. Your lodge meeting when you were called on at good of the order, just 1 or 2 minutes. Surprisingly, when you're doing the speaking, 2 minutes is a really long time. So have a message, what it means to you, whatever. You are going to be giving a much fuller response at your official visits. And we'll go through that when we go through the official visits. We have webinar workshop on. But when you do have a full one, have at least 3 versions. There's nothing worse than going in, visiting a lodge and hearing the same rote presentation every time. So again, we'll talk more about that. Talking points. Yes.
Bob, is the Grand Master going to present talking points this year like other Grand Masters have done?
That's my understanding, and he will be sending them through the Junior Grand Warden. So you should be receiving talking points. Probably nobody can go anyway. If you're having Zoom meetings, matter of fact, that's another one, okay? You still could be using talking points. So let me just find out about that for you, and I'll get back to you, all of you. But the other thing is, you should have your own talking points. You should always be prepared to say a few words because you'll be called on when you least expect it. So always have a few words ready to say. Hold the ritual warden or wardens competition. Again, we're going to see if this goes through, but be prepared for the ritual competition. You are responsible for putting it on. 10 district events. If you have a district-wide event, see if you can get there. And of course, if you have Grand Lodge events in your district, you better be there for like cornerstone ceremonies, etc. But if there's festivals, there's parades, or anything that is district-wide, make sure you can attend. All right. The favorite of every district deputy, perform other duties as directed by the Grand Master. Hopefully most of you will not have other duties. If you do, well, it will be an experience, okay? Can't tell you what they are. You'll find out, hopefully never. All right. Workshops for the district. You are required in your expectations for the Grand Master to perform one workshop every year for your district. Workshop on putting on workshops. We can help you with workshops. When I start to do a workshop, it takes me a minimum of 10 to 20 hours to put together a workshop. You have 20 hours to put together a workshop. Too much time. We can help you. District resource team, leadership training. I have even asked the District 2 Ed team, which has probably 12 or 14 different workshops, if we are available as well. So don't feel alone. Don't feel you have to pick it all up. Contact us. We can help. All right. So you put on the purple. You put on the collar. You put and you go to the lodge, and all of a sudden, you perceive power. Oh, here's the district deputy. He has the answers. He's going to take our charter. He's going to this perceived power of here. Okay, let me tell you how much power you have. Absolutely none. You have the power to report. That's however a bad thing for you to have. You don't have to tell them you have no power. Sometimes it could come in a little handy, but you really have no power other than to report to the Grand Master. Okay? You'll get here's Big Brother from Grand Lodge coming in. I'm going to look over our shoulders, tell us, oh man, all right. Make sure you are very clear when you visit. You're not there here to spy or control. You are there to help the lodge, to help the members. And you're also looking for the positives in the lodge. You also might mention that you'll be taking notes. I still take notes in lodge, can I tell you? But I do it because, right? But you might tell them, okay, I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. There may be something that I hear that I want to pass on to other lodges. Now the positives, when I was a deputy, I did get caught, had a other district past deputy look over my shoulder going, oh, taking notes, huh? Bring home milk, cheese, and bread. So let them know you're going to be taking notes, but it's not to say, oh, I'm here looking over your shoulder. It's reminders for them. All right. Oh, here he is. He's the expert. District deputy will be able to tell us everything, okay? No, you won't be able to tell them. You don't, they may expect you to have all the answers. Well, I had all the answers, but nobody asked me the right questions. So you are not expected to know everything. If you don't know, hey, tell them you don't know, but make sure you find out and get back to them. And finally, hopefully, this is one that's starting to wane. You're not going to tell us what to do in our lodge. Grand Lodge isn't telling us a thing. We're running our own lodge. That is absolutely correct. You are not there to tell the lodge what to do. As a matter of fact, you can't tell the lodge what to do. You can give an opinion. You can try and get them onto a little bit better path. But no, you are not there to tell any lodge what they can do. Every lodge is responsible for its own decisions and plans. And unfortunately, every lodge has the right to fail. And we've seen in the past couple of years, lodges taking up that right. So you are there to help. You are there to try to keep them out of trouble and provide assistance and mentoring. The book has a great phrase about a worshipful master who continues to close in short form. Deputy finally comes up and tells him, you can't close in short form. Don't make me do my job. I wish I would have known that phrase a couple of times when I was deputy. Don't make me do my job. Keep them out of trouble, provide assistance, provide maybe an opinion on some things they might consider. So What can you expect from DIRT, from the District Deputy Resource Team? Okay, we're here to try to provide best practice suggestions and updates on templates, examples, best practices, provided on the report matrix. Boy, for a couple of years, I keep track of the reports on a matrix, who does the reports, who doesn't do the reports, etc., and give it to the XCOM, the executive committee. And by the way, the executive committee reads every single one of your reports. A few years back, that wasn't necessarily the case, but that has been corrected here, oh boy, quite a while ago. But they read every single one of your reports. So don't feel like you're just throwing it into a basket somewhere and it disappears. No. The report matrix I gave to the ECOM committee, and after a couple of years, if you have information, you will receive a copy of the report matrix showing what reports have been received. Check it. I have missed reports. Make sure you have, get credit for all your reports. And you're going to miss a month. I mean, life happens. Or at something. But if you miss 3 or 4 in a row, you're probably going to get a call from the Grand Master. The resource team, we are exactly that for you. We are a resource team for you. If you have questions, you have concerns, you have a situation, call us and email us. You can bounce ideas off of us. If you're not quite sure if you should be contacting the Grand Master about this particular thing, that's what we're here for. Call us and tell us. We've seen lots of different situations among all of us. So we're here for you, and door policy that if you feel there's something going on that he should be aware of. Okay, here's an acronym, OMAR, for you're to observe, you're to analyze and report. Whoop. Observe what's going on and what is not going on in the lodge in the district. Make sure you take notes, because Mike, Ed, and I think Richard all used a 3x5 card. I have a like a little half-page thing that's in the appendix. I had to have everything in front of me because I can't even remember if I tied my shoes in the morning. So make notes, and also nothing's more embarrassing than standing up and go to the order and saying, "Congratulations to your new entered apprentice. What was your name again?" Take notes on what you want to talk about if you're called upon. All right. The mentor, to provide information, guidance, and assistant to whisper wise counsel, not to tell them what to do, but give them options on maybe a better path, and have information on programs and resources, committees. Analyze what is and isn't pertinent. Is it something that Grand Lodge needs to know? Hey, Brother Fred's going to do corned beef and cabbage at the next meeting. Probably isn't something Grand Lodge needs to know. I'd write it down for my own notes, because I love corned beef and cabbage, but not really something that Grand Lodge needs to know. Is there a situation or a concern that is likely to escalate? Make sure you note that in your own notes, and maybe when you report. Nothing is worse than having it escalate and then blow up, and you have said nothing to anyone about it. Why didn't you tell us? We could have done something. All right. Report. Code violations, conflicts, concerns, and don't forget what the lodge is doing well. Okay? Code violations that will cause direct action against the lodge. Not every single code violation. Heaven's sakes, I haven't been to a perfect lodge yet. I'd like to find one. But code violations, all right? Usually you get a statement We're not sure this year how that's going to work. We usually get half in the fall and half in the spring, and it will pay all your expenses. Okay, I lied. It may get you a couple of tanks. Oh. You should have received this particular bit in an email before. It's about the deputy mailbox. Now, when you send in your monthly reports, deputies@freemason-wa.org is the email you use. That's all you have to do is send your reports to that email. If you want to get in and look at past reports or past OVs or past district meetings, this is the procedure you need to do. If you have questions, if you have concerns, that's what we are here for. We are here to help you. So please let us know. And I'm going to be sending out a survey on what else you would like to know, and please be honest about this particular workshop, because that's how we improve. We can't improve unless you tell us what's right, what's wrong, whatever. So we'll be sending a survey out after this. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have anything, we are the District Deputy Resource Team, and we are here to help you. Okay. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So District 5 is trying to set up its own team, just like kind of emulating District 2's example. But the problem that I'm having is making the sales pitch to these guys, because I don't want to tell them, hey, I want you to be part of, my resource team because I think you would be an outstanding deputy in the future. So how do I get them in without them having some sort of, odd preconceptions? I'm trying to figure out, like when Richard, you asked, and when you and Chris asked me to be part of it, you didn't mention any of that stuff, but I don't remember what it was that you told me.
So if I can speak a little bit to that, the intention of the resource team for a particular district is to help the district be successful.
Yeah.
To help the deputy be successful. You still call the ball. Your butt's the one on the line. The Grandmaster's still looking to you because you work for the Grandmaster, like nobody else. But this is a group of people that are there to help the district be successful, help you run programs, to help you do things that support the district and build camaraderie, not just within the lodges, but across the lodges, and make Masonry stronger. The piece that you're talking about, I've always kind of put to the side as we're all deputies here. It's my bench team. It's the people that I think are future deputies or past deputies who I still want to keep that learning and that engagement and productivity. I want them to feel like they still have something to offer. So I've never looked at members. It's something that I consider, would that person be a good future deputy? Maybe getting exposure to how the sausage is made behind the scenes would be good for them at this point in their Masonic career. That's something definitely to consider, but I look first and foremost at, can they help me be successful? And can they help the district be successful?
Yes.
So maybe they're not ever going to be a deputy. They just don't have that leadership charisma. I could be totally wrong because people change and grow over time. But maybe my going in isn't, their future deputy material. Maybe it's that person can run any program. Give them a program and they are, wow, I want them to be part of this team because I want our district to have wow programs. And maybe that's all they ever do. And I don't want to say that as a negative, all that comes across, not how I mean it, but so what? look at the amazing things they did for the district and how they grew it. And maybe they never became deputy, but they don't care. So I hear you, and and that's a great thing to be thinking about. But I want you to really be thinking about this. This can't be a one-person show. This is masonry. Yes, I'm the deputy. Yes, my butt's on the line. Yes, I gotta drive these things forward for the Grand Master under other duties as assigned. But how do I really bring that team, that camaraderie, that cross lodge growth to our district, and who's going to help me do that? I would put that higher on the list than future deputy.
Exactly.
But I definitely hear you, and it's a great brainstorming conversation and certainly a lot of fun.
Well, what kind of struck the most in my mind about all this was seeing how, you know, and this is kind of for all the other deputies, because I don't know how you guys all, you know, plan the receptions, but District 2's usually goes off without a hitch because there's like 8 or 9 guys working the whole thing, from cooking to setting up to, you know, whatever. And District 5's last year was just Steve Harrell and myself. And it was more difficult. I don't know how the rest of you guys handle those.
Well, first off, Jerry, you're at a distinct disadvantage because you've been a part of the District 2 Ed team. It is sort of the model for a resource team. We're going to be talking about resource teams in another workshop, but a resource team is something that every deputy should be looking at getting. People to help you, and Richard, absolutely right on, spot on. The part about being, you know, a deputy candidate is kind of something that's internal in you, not to broadcast out to members. It is something you maybe should be looking for, but getting a resource team, even if it's only one person to assist you, is almost vital. You got a lot to do as a deputy. And that's one way to say you got one person. Hopefully you have a couple of past deputies that you can bring in whose advice and knowledge you feel will be beneficial. Building a resource team is something that is continuous, revisioned, and to me, totally necessary. But we'll be talking about that in a future workshop. So, but yeah, we usually don't mention that to people that come into the to the resource team and say, "Hey, you're going to be a deputy." No, we don't even mention it until they've been part of the team for a while, and it's very apparent that they are definitely a future deputy material. So anyway, hope that ends.
And Bob Kovac here, if I may add one other caveat to that, another reason you don't want to let, you know, try to hint to somebody that they could be the next deputy in the future. The Grand Master is under no obligation to appoint your nomination. And in fact, in several cases in the past, nominees have been passed over for somebody else the Grand Master thought would be a better district deputy in that particular district.
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, we're fortunate that we can provide 3 or 4 names, but it is the Grand Master's choice. He will ask you for recommendations, but it is the Grand Master's choice. So,
and if you can build your resource team, which takes time, and when I say time, it takes years to really build it, but once you have it, then you're going to have that list of 3 or 4 names. You're going to have a group of people that have demonstrated commitment to the district. And while the Grand Master can pick any name out of the hat he wants because he's a Grand Master, smart Grand Masters are going to look at your resource team and consider those people first because they have a demonstrated commitment to the district and the district growth. And really, ultimately, that's what you are. You demonstrated at some point in your career or your Masonic participation that you are committed not just to your lodge, not just to Masonry, but to growing your district and to helping the brethren of your district enhance their Masonic experience.
Yep.
And so that's why you're here. And welcome aboard.
Yeah.
And I'll leave you with, once a deputy, always a deputy.
Always, absolutely. So,
You no
Jerry,
longer get to go back to the sidelines and just
No.
be, oh, it doesn't matter what I do. Everything you do is now looked at by every Mason from here forward as, oh, that's what a Mason should be. So never forget that.
absolutely. So basically, Jerry, we're telling you you're here because it's your own fault. All right. Other questions, Vince? Anything? I thought we had another. Bill Hubbard, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, just a quick comment.
Yes.
I know you warned me last year that I was going to have to give a talk at every meeting, but for sure you're going to talk at every single meeting, so always be prepared.
Yes.
And after about 3 meetings, you're going to get tired about saying the same thing all the time, so you're going to have to come up with something else.
Absolutely. That also, we're going to go over etiquette and protocol in not the next one, but the third workshop. I'll be sending you a copy of all the workshops we're going to be doing. There's 7 in all, and that means that's close to 14 weeks. Maybe for you. Do you want to do every week rather than every 2 weeks? Because that'll get it down to 7 weeks, and in 7 weeks, I don't think we're going to be meeting anywhere. But at least we'll give you kind of a leg up. So you tell me.
Personally, I'm really for every week. The sooner I'm prepared for when we do start meeting in person again, the happier I will be.
Okay.
I agree totally.
All right. Well, I'll put it out on an email for you to respond as well. And you're never going to be totally prepared until the last day of being deputy. Then all of a sudden, everything will become clear. Yes. All right. Any other questions? Any other comments? Anything?
Yeah,
Yes.
hey, Bob, Kovac here again.
Yes.
Just briefly, I came in late, so maybe I missed the boat here. As far as reporting, and of course this goes back to this past Grand Lodge year, because there's no meetings at all. Do we get a pass on reporting? For example, May, June, July, absolutely no meetings. There's nothing to report on.
Yeah. Everybody but you, Richard. You have to report every single month.
Oh, God.
No, actually, even if you're doing Zoom meetings, if there's a situation, if there's something that comes up, report. But no, I'm not keeping track of reports through September.
Okay, thanks.
But if you have things, please.
We had a couple of virtual meetings, but nothing's going on. There's nothing big. It's just, we're glad to see each other and hope to meet again. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, the only thing was, but Carolyn probably should have been advised on that particular situation. But if you have something going on, even if it's not during a Zoom meeting, throw it in a report. I am still checking the deputy's website to try to do it at least once a week. So just because we're not meeting doesn't mean things are not going on. And if you can, attend Zoom meetings of lodges. So,
Bob, I can speak to that a little bit.
Yes.
There are things going on. Even though you're not having meetings, your lodges and members of your lodges are still dealing with things. Whether it's, trying to figure out things with their buildings, whether it's, Zoom meetings with programs. It's important during this time that we as deputies maintain contact with your lodges and the masters. I'm not saying you have to call them all the time every day, but hopefully you're reaching out to them, seeing how they're doing, see what their needs are, and see if we can help troubleshoot and work through some of those things. I mean, you're kind of their resource team if you think about it. So try to be that resource. And some examples of things that do happen at lodges, you've had some lodges like in Kennewick had some graffiti on a lodge. There are things that are going on with our lodges and with our buildings. And these are important things to keep the Grand Master informed on. Think of it this way. If it's something that shows up on the King 5's news, would you have wanted the Grand Master to know about it beforehand? Or would you have wanted him to find out about it on the King 5 news? So that's kind of how to think about it in terms of that.
And brothers, allow me to say, go easy on yourself. It's going to be really hard to be a deputy right now. Just like it's really hard to be a Mason who attends meetings. We can always be a Mason. But it's hard enough to be a deputy when you're dropped in the pot and you're just going to like 8 meetings a month and you're going to all your lodges and you're trying to get that balance down. And you're trying to remember the Grand Master's talking points and when you're supposed to speak in a meeting and how to balance, you guys aren't really following the code here versus, have a good time. That's hard normal times. And right now, all you got is Zoom or Skype or whatever your video messenger of choice is. So cut yourself some slack. Take this time to read and study and think about your leadership style. Think about the things you want. Stay in contact with your masters. Call them, email them, bug them. Like, hey, what are you thinking about for the lodge this month? Oh, great. Oh, you guys, yeah, make sure I'm invited to your Zoom meetings or, whatever. But just make sure they know you're there. And you're going to have to do a little bit more than you normally would because you're not going to see them monthly unless you get on a video call. And just understand, as a resource, we're a resource for you, but we recognize it is so much harder. I would rather be sitting in the basement of a lodge right now with you all around a table having some lunch and talking it through instead of 1 hour quick calls on a weekly basis. So thank you for doing that. But we recognize this is suboptimal for what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. So it's going to be harder. You're going to have a great story to tell yourself later in life, and just hang in there because eventually we will get to the other side and we will be sitting together across the table.
And I would also add, try to keep, you're a deputy and you're supposed to know and understand your ritual. So take a little bit of time to practice, to work on your memorization. So when the time comes that we can meet at lodge again, you're crisp, right? Because I think a lot of us haven't cracked our books in a long time. And maybe look at the code, keep up on that stuff. That way you won't struggle when, I know a lot of lodges are going to be struggling when they start meeting again because a lot of the officers haven't been doing the work. So I would just, that would be one of the things that, if possible, try to keep up on that work.
I have a question, and I see that looks like Very Worshipful David Burns not on anymore, and I know Jim's not on, so I guess I'm kicking this up to Ed and Cameron. Has there been any updates on the conference next year? Is it still a thing?
On the Grandmasters Conference?
Yeah.
Currently, it is still scheduled to happen as planned. My understanding is that there is a drop dead date that the conference itself is holding of November to make a final decision. But currently, it's good to go as planned. Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. Who else has a question out there? I can see 2 people.
Bob, Bob, I do. Whoever it was, go ahead. I'll wait.
I'm John Lynn from Spokane.
Oh, welcome, John.
I've been listening fine, and I love all this. This is all in my wheelhouse, so no sweat. But I do have a couple of questions. Number one, how do I get access to the code?
To the
code.
Okay, actually, you should have a copy. I don't know that it's online. For some reason, I think it is a PDF you can get through Grandview.
You can get it through Grandview, Bob.
Okay. Also, you can buy a copy of the Washington Masonic Code and the Standard Work, which includes the Lodge Officer's Handbook from Grand Lodge. Get it a full size for guys like me that need big print, or a half size, and you just call the Grand Lodge office and request it. And so there are a couple of different ways. You should time you go in to a lodge. So
yeah, I haven't had a copy of the lodge for several years. I was secretary for 7 years, and of course I had an active copy then, but I no longer do. So
yeah, John, get an updated copy. Yes. And just a quick, before I think it was Cameron had a question. Before that, when you get asked a question about the code, don't use your memory. Do not use your memory. Go to the code with the brother asking the question. See exactly what the code says, because you'll be surprised. It wasn't quite what you thought. So make sure, instead of just responding, you both look at the code. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
okay, one last question, and this one is a shoot myself in the foot question. But years ago, when they were just beginning the proficiency in lodge management stuff, and we had got version after version after version. And being good souls and a good secretary at Chihuahua, I had monthly meetings with our leadership team, and we went over all of those, answered all the questions, did all the things, at least 2 different versions, maybe 3. And then we heard later that all of that was crap, that what we have out now is a totally new thing, and that's what you got to do. So I really don't know what to do or what to say.
Okay.
You say I need to do part A. I haven't a clue what part A is, but I'm not improficient. I just don't know what they're talking about.
Okay. Okay. It is available on the Grand Lodge website. Yeah, I need to retake. I haven't taken it like for 3 or 4 years. It is not changing. I know what you're talking about. It used to change, like, it seemed like 4 months there was a new one.
Yeah.
It has not changed, I don't believe, in the past 2 years. It's so that there is no change for at least 3 years, is my understanding. So that it does change with this change when things in the code and standard work change. However, it's not a totally different test every single time you take it. So, and part B is where you have the candidate come in and open and close lodge to show that they are proficient in running the lodge. And what you decide to make that as a proficient is going to be up to you. And again, we'll be talking about that a little bit later on in a couple other workshops. But
sure.
Okay. Somebody else had a question.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
That the meeting that occurred last, I think, Tuesday. I was up in Alaska, so I was not able to jump on board. Was that recorded, or who could I talk to find out what was discussed, et cetera?
Okay, I believe that was recorded, but I also was on a different Zoom meeting, so I didn't get to make that one either. Anybody know if that was recorded to the Grandmaster?
Send an email to Clint Brown at Grand Lodge, and he should be able to provide you with a link of where that is if we have it.
Thank you. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
There was another question. Anybody? Bueller? Okay, any other questions? Any other comments?
None from me.
Are we encouraging the lodges in our district to have Zoom meetings? I have several that have them, and I have several that do not hold Zoom meetings, and they're totally incommunicado with everybody.
Wow. I'm going to answer yes. Encourage Zoom meeting. They can't open or close, cannot do any Masonic business, cannot do anything, but you can still do planning, you can still do discussions, you can still do a number of things even discuss bills. And I believe Grandmaster's already directed you can pay your bills. But again, a Sococo, GoToMeeting, whatever they can use, absolutely encourage.
And we encourage that from a fellowship standpoint.
Absolutely,
keeping engaged, keeping the Masonic thought in the forefront of your mind. As a master, as a former master, I'm just thinking if I was a master at this time, which quite frankly, I'm really glad I'm not, but I would be thinking, wow, it's hard enough to get people to come to meetings on a regular basis. How do I keep them involved? How do I keep them engaged? How do I get them thinking about their brothers when they can't even leave their house? And if I'm not doing anything, I don't know that I'm doing my job. So as deputy, that's a great conversation when you talk to the masters. Hey, how are you keeping your team engaged? What's your lodge been able to do given the restrictions of trying not to kill each other off? What are we doing? And maybe you could come at that sideways to encourage them to have some sort of video chat meeting, just a fellowship event. Because if they do nothing for 6 months, and I know a building doesn't make a lodge, it's the fellowship that makes a lodge. So if they're not even doing that, wow, that hurts. And there may be some really good reasons why, but that would be a great conversation for you to have with the master about how can I help? Can I set you up something? Can I send some communications out? How can I help you be successful as master in this really weird time? So I don't envy the challenge you've got, but I'm here to brainstorm some ideas and hopefully support you doing it.
You might want to suggest maybe that they reach out to their EAs and their fellow crafts too. Have they been reaching out? Have they been staying in contact with some of their candidates? I know I asked the lodges I belong to, and the answer was no. And so it hadn't clicked with them. So I think now they're working on it now, and they're going to work on some Zoom meetings to try to keep in touch with them over this time. And also they're prepared to move on once we're able to open lodges again.
I think it's important that we send out to every lodge in our district to remind them of what happens next Tuesday. And that's right, Worshipful Ed's program, Zoom program for the 6-step program. And he's encouraged us to send out the link to that to the candidates, future candidates that we've stacked up during this stupid downtime, and also EAs that you haven't had, been able to really work with them as closely as you'd want to as far as mentoring and coaching. That's the perfect thing to do here within the next week.
I know one of the potential brothers we've had has already been invited to the weekly Zoom meetings that we have in the district. And he showed up, and I was quite impressed. The guy's really excited about becoming a Mason, but I have not seen any of the other potential Masons at any of our Zoom meetings. And I will suggest to the brothers that if they're courting these guys to have them attend a Zoom meeting, because we're not doing anything esoteric. So that'd be a good place to start and them get to know the brothers of the lodge.
And be sure to send them an invitation for each Zoom meeting because they may not be able to make the first or the second meeting, but make sure they get an invitation each time. Also, Zoom meeting, perfect time for lodge planning, even budget discussions. You can't vote on anything, but mission statement, vision statement. What are you really trying to do in lodge? Also, I know one district in their Zoom meetings has actually had a guest speaker come in and speak maybe 10 or 15 minutes. So there's a lot of things you can do in a Zoom meeting, even though we can't do a stated communication. So yeah, highly recommend. Anyway, I know there was another question from John. Did you have a question about the upcoming line? District 11?
Anyway, Bob, while there's silence on the line, Kovac here again.
Yes.
Well, one of the other things that a Zoom, a Zoom meeting will do, besides, just letting the brothers see each other again, is you can bring in brothers that have, left the state. For example, in Doric, they did pretty good. They invited every member, and we had people come in from Washington, D.C. and New York, zooming in on us. In another Zoom meeting, we had a brother from the Philippines Zoom in with us. Plus, the other thing you can do is find out who needs some help and assistance. We had one brother who, because he lost his job and whatnot, he had to move. And he brought it up, and boy, people volunteered to help him move to another location because he couldn't pay the rent in the place he was at. So there's all sorts of help and assistance stuff you can do through these Zoom virtual meetings, which just keep the fellowship going.
Okay. By the way, John, no, I don't have you muted. I don't know if I know how to have you muted, so I don't think it's on this end. But you did have a question about upcoming line.
Who's muted?
John Brish.
He doesn't show as muted.
His sound has had trouble.
John, where are you? There you are.
I'm here. John
Oh,
Lynn.
there you go. Okay. Oh, no, John, just from District 11, I thought had a question.
If we can't get the audio, we certainly can get it in via chat as well. So
Problem with mine was I was using the back camera of my iPad, so.
Okay.
Question-
Oh, from John.
What
John,
about next year's elections?
Yes.
So maybe extending on the hypothetical, if we're out for long enough that we pass the last date for the Washington Masonic Code for elections and installations, does that mean the existing line continues on an additional year? Just kind of guessing.
The Grand Master spoke to this question at his last sort of group meeting. And while I did not write down his answer, it was along the lines of, they don't know yet. The Grand Line is still talking about it. They're talking with jurisprudence. They're trying to figure out the right thing for Masonry. Cameron mentioned that he looked back during the Spanish 18 flu for what they did during that period in time. So they're still pulling the definitive answer out of the proverbial hat, if you will. But there's deep thought going into it. There's a lot of uncertainty about what the right answer is. But one thing the Grand Master stressed was he would be writing letters, I forget the right word, but the letters of exception. So he will heal any code violations that occur because of the pandemic versus a code violation that occurs because you're an idiot. He's gonna heal this stuff. They just don't know what it is because it kind of has to happen before they can heal it. So it is, from what my impression, and this is just me speaking, my impression is, given where we're at as a country, given what's happening, I suspect that the current line's going to sit tight, and they're going to ride it out. And there's two sides to this coin, but on the one hand, the people who are in the chairs right now haven't really had a chance to do their parts and be the chair. So extending it isn't really a great burden on anybody, but then there's the people behind them that don't get to move forward. So it's pros and cons. And the Grand Line is on it, and they will be coming out with something soonish. But that's what I took away from the last Grand Master's talk. Ed, you were there. Maybe you've got a better perspective.
No, I mean, you pretty much summarized what the conversation was. I mean, it's hard to make case by case decisions, and we're trying to weigh in all of the options that are out there, and find what's, I mean, going to be the best answer for the fraternity. I think that's the best way that you can put it. I mean, there is no right answer. You know, you have some lodges that are okay with and have expressed that, you know, hey, everybody's okay with doing another year. But then there's going to be some lodges that say, no, I don't want to do another year. There's going to be brothers that maybe because of job commitments and stuff that they, you know, have to change your plans and can't do a second year. So, I mean, it's at some point, I think we will arrive at a decision, but I think not until the Grand Master has exhausted all of his research and figured out truly what the best answer is for the jurisdiction right now.
And if I can add one thing, Kovac here, the Grand Master did say, don't worry about deadlines in your bylaws or whatnot. Everybody stay in place for the time being. He will, as he says, grant waivers, dispensations, whatever. So whatever your bylaws have as for, you know, elections and installations, don't worry about it. The Grand Lodge team is getting together, and Ed, I think the inference I got from what he was saying was probably in November, you guys would have a definitive position as to how this is going to go forward as far as succession, installation, elections, etc.
I think more, I mean, yes, but I think more accurately is that we have a couple of months to kind of weigh the options. I don't believe that the Grand Master feels we've reached a point right now where we have to make that decision right now. We have a couple of months to work. And so, you know, give it a chance to see what's going to happen with the state. I mean, things obviously are looking pretty bleak right now with the phases. Everything's pretty much been paused, and it doesn't look like anybody's moving into phase 3 or phase 4 anytime soon. But there again, you know, the way this stuff happens, I mean, there could be a big change in the next month and a half. I mean, I would be hopeful that that's the case, but I'm not going to hold my breath. There's just too many unknowns at this point. And I think what he has said is that we still have some time, so we'll hopefully get an answer soon, but it's just not going to be right now.
Great. Further comments, further questions?
Nope. Thank you for the meeting.
Oh, my pleasure. And appreciate your time for coming here and being here. Send it out, find out if you want a weekly. It looks like more people want weeklies than every 2 weeks. Input, because this is how we change. This is how we update. This is how we look and evaluate. Once again, we're here. Brother,
weekly would be great.
Very good. Any last chance? Anybody?
Thank you, Bob.
Okay,
Appreciate you making this happen.
that,
Thank you.
my
Thank you,
pleasure.
Bob.
We'll be seeing you soon.
All right, thank you very much.
Take care.
All right, you do the same. Thank you.